Mastering compliance objectives. Compliance requirements are recklessly ignored in vendor contracts. Where are the processes in place to ensure that their organization's compliance requirements are accurately reflected in its vendor and partner contracts? In the pursuit of operational excellence in compliance, it is crucial to ensure that an organization's compliance requirements are accurately reflected in its vendor and partner contracts. This can be achieved by implementing the following processes. Firstly, establish a centralized contract management system that tracks and records all vendor and partner contracts. This system should be accessible to all relevant stakeholders, including procurement, legal, and compliance teams. The system should have features such as version control, approval workflows, and searchable contract repositories. Secondly, develop a comprehensive contract review and approval process that ensures compliance requirements are incorporated into vendor and partner contracts. This process should involve the following steps. Identify all compliance requirements that are relevant to the contract, including regulatory obligations, industry standards, and organizational policies. Develop a contract template that incorporates these compliance requirements, including clauses related to data protection, confidentiality, and non-disclosure. Establish a review and approval workflow that involves stakeholders from procurement, legal, and compliance teams. Ensure that all contracts are reviewed and approved by the relevant stakeholders prior to execution. Thirdly, implement a vendor and partner risk assessment process to identify high-risk vendors and partners that require enhanced compliance provisions. This process should involve the following steps. Develop a risk assessment framework that evaluates vendors and partners based on factors such as data sensitivity, regulatory requirements, and business criticality. Conduct regular risk assessments of all vendors and partners, using the risk assessment framework. Identify high-risk vendors and partners that require enhanced compliance provisions, such as additional audit rights, security requirements, or compliance certifications. Fourthly, negotiate compliance provisions with vendors and partners, based on the risk assessment results. This should involve the following steps. Develop a negotiation strategy that takes into account the level of risk associated with each vendor or partner. Negotiate compliance provisions with vendors and partners, including clauses related to data protection, confidentiality, and non-disclosure. Ensure that all compliance provisions are properly documented and incorporated into the contract. Fifthly, monitor and audit compliance with vendor and partner contracts, to ensure that the organization's compliance requirements are being met. This should involve the following steps. Develop a contract monitoring and audit program that tracks compliance with contract terms and conditions. Conduct regular audits of vendor and partner contracts, to ensure compliance with regulatory requirements and organizational policies. Identify and address any compliance issues or concerns that arise during the audit process. Lastly, provide training and awareness programs for employees involved in vendor and partner contract management, to ensure that they understand the compliance requirements and the contract review and approval process. By implementing these processes, organizations can ensure that their compliance requirements are accurately reflected in their vendor and partner contracts, and that they are well equipped to manage compliance risk in their third-party relationships. This will help to promote operational excellence in compliance, and reduce the risk of non-compliance and reputational damage.